there was a tweet by Monad yesterday saying last day to be an early user of Monad testnet. As usual with these kind of tweets, we don't know what that means. Could it be good? Could it be bad? What does an early user mean? Usually it means something. Sometimes it means nothing. Definitely kind of inspiring some amount of FOMO. So yesterday I put this tweet out. I said you should get some test tokens. You can do some swap tokens on Kuru Exchange. Open a pack on Fantasy Top. That's one that will be ongoing, right? If you're just messing around on testnet and want to play the game, that would probably be one to keep doing. Restake some Mon on Kintsu, mint and overnads on Magic Eden. This is all testnet tokens. You can get them for free. There's no cost to it, but I think people assume this participation may be rewarded in some way later down the line. Shout out to Crypto Mocus, who shared that information, got my attention yesterday. Big listener and fan of the show. Really appreciate his tweet, which got me
matching Pudgy. Active. You guys are twinning it up right there.
Yeah, we got the villainous masks. Yeah, I appreciate him for doing that because I had completely forgotten, and his information got me active yesterday. What was the other one? Okay, Hyperliquid. I hadn't actually, we talk about Hyperliquid all the time inside of the app, bridging over from Arbitrum, but the EVM is live. And so you got a chance to like do stuff there now. For this one, the Hyperliquid team are notoriously quiet on what things will get rewards or when things are going to happen and to what extent you get rewarded for them. I just like exploring the things anyway and getting a feel for how these things work. So I put this tweet out earlier this morning. After I did it last night, I said some Hyperliquid exploring today to do. You can actually now bridge your hype over straight from the kind of Hyperliquid front end, which is when you log in the usual way to the Hyperliquid app. You can click transfer to EVM, or you can transfer it to this specific wallet address that it gives you. And then that just basically bridges it over to the EVM. And there is an app called Hyperswap where I just played around, bought one set of tokens as part of my initial foray into Hyperliquid. Those are a couple of things I've been looking at, kind of exploring now that the market has kind of cooled down a bit. Brad, curious from your perspective. I know we spoke a little bit about it yesterday. You were talking about the things that you're exploring. Thoughts on these particular things? Thoughts on anything else? What are you interested in? What are you exploring?
I have general interest in all of it. I just hope my time will allow me to actually do the things that I want to do. Anisha is also another one that I want to make sure I have exposure to. I've seen Zon. Zon's the founder of Anisha here. And just hearing them talk about what they're trying to do, it makes sense to me. So it's something I want to make sure that I play around on. I know in the past, even in my post for that, they've come and mentioned that, hey, like there's apps that you can come try on testnet. So I want to do this stuff. I would like to make sure that I go and even do some of the simple stuff. Although like I don't anticipate it to be anything more than shekels. Like if you go and do something as simple as like what you do or anyone does. So like for me, frankly, I don't know if it's worth my time to like try and make sure I have my finger in every pie, but also it's free. So, and like we have testnet coming. So it would be good for me to play around on a bunch of testnets and see where the pain points are, what like we can try to make sure that we have smooth over. So yeah, I think what you have listed there, I wrote about Hyperliquid in the Friend.tech days, Dith. Like Hyperliquid was one of the first people that listed a friend token before the actual friend token. It was an index on all like the top keys. And we were like, oh, what, like, is this an actual friend token speculation, whatever? I found out I wrote about it. And it's like August of 23 or some shit. Never touched the platform. I still have not a single dollar has gone to Hyperliquid. Probably my biggest fumble. I spent all my energy on Friend.tech. Should have done it on Hyperliquid. But I'm really interested in the construction, like this as a nerd, like their whole like EVM on top of like this DEX front end, like the existing in parallel, and they have this like dual block production setup where it's like big blocks, small blocks at the same time. I don't know, like it's interesting to me. I need to get exposure and play around because one, it's successful, and two, it's different, and I like different, unique.
Interesting. Dith, any thoughts? Whether on Hyperliquid or anything else that's kind of making you curious at the moment when you're exploring around?
Yeah, I want to play around on Hyperliquid a bunch more as well. I mean, I've spent a fair bit of time, and so has my team at Proof of Play, just really studying everything about their go-to-market and their airdrop. And I mean, we just think that like Hype may be one of the best airdrops of all. It may be the best airdrop of all time, right? When you look at everything put together there, and the other piece, right, that was going around on the timeline was just about the generate almost $50 million in fees this month, and there are other protocols generating more, but it's just like a hell of a lot of buying pressure, right, on a young token, and the product's real. It's actually so good that it feels a bit like a game. I feel like a lot of the best on-chain products get, kind of reach this category or reach this status where they actually feel a bit like a game. The early days of Friendtech, right? Talking about Friendtech, felt a bit like a game. Like I felt like, okay, what is being cannibalized right now that I'm spending all this time like messing around these chat rooms and meeting people? It was my gaming time. So I put, Hyperliquid. I'm not a big sort of like leverage trader. That's just not how I'm built or how I've historically spent my time. But when I started messing around with Hyperliquid, I was like, yeah, actually, this is so easy and so fun, and all my friends are using it. So I guess fuck it, I'm going to get liquidated here, which is exactly what happened. But yeah, I mean, so I want to do a deep dive. The swap site you mentioned, Speedcheck, the HyperSwap. They had I participated in there. They had a very small amount of allocation up on Echo, which similarly to Mega ETH bread, like it filled like immediately. It was a very, very small allocation, like put in $400 or something. So I need to at least check that one out.
That's a good point. And talking about metrics to like track, I know we use DeFi Llama for like volume and revenue and things like that. Speed of Echo sellouts for allocations is a thing, because I received an email this morning, and I was obviously asleep. I picked it up in the morning. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. This round is going to be opening like a few hours later. And by the time I was awake, it was a Hyperliquid stable coin, basically. It was like, focus on Hyperliquid stable coin. By the time I'd logged in, by the time I woke up, it was gone. It was already gone. So yeah, like
I love that about Echo. Actually, it gives me like, NFT mania era like minting vibes. Like you gotta like mint ASAP or the shit's out of stock.